afternoon. So we are aware that in the live recording of this assembly there was a very strange crackling noise. So we're going to re-record it so you can hear the story and everything very clearly. But we will still be treating it just like a normal assembly. So good afternoon, my name is Ellie and I work for Southampton City Mission. We normally go into schools when it's not the Easter holidays for assemblies and RE days, but obviously we can't do that at this time. So instead we are bringing a live stream or YouTube assembly to you where we follow the exact same format as we would in schools. We're going to be asking you a question, reading a Bible story together, hearing what a Christian thinks about that, and also setting you a challenge as well as praying together at the end. So today's question is this: have you ever grown anything? Now I know lots of people have commented their answers, but let me tell you about what I have grown. A few years ago we set up a vegetable patch in our garden because I love the idea of just being able to go and pick my own vegetables without going to the shop, and it's really good fun. Now it hasn't always been that successful. Quite a few times the caterpillars has got to them and the slugs have eaten my seedlings, but there have been some success. So here are some photos of something I have grown. These are my wibbly wobbly carrots, which I love because they are in all sorts of strange shapes. So they don't look like the ones you'd get from the shops, but I think they're really good fun and I loved pulling them out of the ground. That's not all though. When we were growing vegetables in our garden, we also had a go at growing courgettes. Now, I went away for a couple of weeks, and when we came back, these courgettes had grown absolutely ginormous. So I am very proud of my huge marrow courgette giant vegetables, as you can see in this photo here. Very chuffed and excited to have picked those from my own vegetable patch. Now I know from the comments that some of you have had a go at growing things, so we can have a look at those now. Charlie says that he grew some pink and blue flowers at school. Now I'm not so good at growing flowers, but I do love the way they look and smell, so well done Charlie. I know that Dave had a growing courgettes as well. That's actually my dad, and that's where I got the idea from, because my parents love growing courgettes as well. Then we've got the Pancott family who joined us today. They've had a go at growing carrots too. I wonder if they were any straighter than the wibbly wobbly ones that I managed to grow. We've also got a few extra comments there. Michelle says that her family's growing black currants and raspberries in their garden. That sounds amazing. And Lucy says that they also grow strawberries every year. That sounds absolutely delicious. Maybe I will have to have a go at trying some more berries as well as my carrots and courgettes. Well, why are we talking about growing things? What has this got to do with the Bible? It actually links to today's story, which is called the parable of the sower. Now, I'm not talking about sowing that you do with a needle and thread. This is what you call someone who plants seeds, sowing into the soil. Sometimes this story is actually called the parable of the 4 types of soil. So we're going to tell this story together today, but I have someone here who is going to help me. So can I please welcome Jordan?
Hello.
This is Jordan. He is my husband, which is why we're in the same house together during lockdown. But he also is one of our team leaders and sometimes comes and joins us in schools. So we're going to be doing this story together today, and we are going to be using one of my favourite Bibles. It's Bob Hartman's Rhyming Bible. And the story we're going to be telling about the sower, the farmer who sows his seeds, it's got a bit of a tune to it today, hasn't it, Jordan? And we think you might know this tune because the chorus is the same tune as Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And to make it even more exciting, we have some actions for you. So Jordan, shall we teach them the actions?
I think we should.
Let's see what the chorus looks like. It goes a bit like this.
Sow, sow, sow your seeds gently on the ground. Which will grow and which will not, and where will fruit be found?
So as we're telling this story, we want you to join in with sowing your seeds, pretending you're scattering them all over the place. Gently on the ground. You're saying which will grow, without hitting the person next to you, which will not, and where will fruit be found. If you can join in with us, let's try together now. Are you ready?
Yes. Sow your seeds gently on the ground, which will grow and which will not, and where will fruit be found?
A farmer went to sow his seeds, said Jesus one fine day. He threw them here, he threw them there, he threw them every way.
Now some seeds fell upon the path. They bounced and rolled around. So birds swooped down with hungry cries and swallowed them all down. Sow your seeds gently on the ground, which will grow and which will not, and where will fruit be found?
And some seeds fell among the rocks, and then began to sprout, but withered in the shallow soil when the sun came out.
Sow your seeds gently on the ground, which will grow and which will not, and where will fruit be found? And some seeds fell among the weeds. They grew there side by side, until the sharp thorns strangled them, and every seedling died. Sow your seeds gently on the ground, which will grow and which will not, and where will fruit be found?
But some seeds fell on fertile ground, and soon began to grow, and gave good fruit 100 times more than that was sown.
Sow your seeds gently on the ground, which will grow and which will not, and where will fruit be found? Then Jesus' friends all came to him, questions in their mouths. We're puzzled by your story, just what is it about?
The seeds stand for God's kingdom, Jesus then explained. The ground is like the human heart. No one's quite the same.
Some hearts are like the hardened path, and when they hear God's news, they simply do not understand. They walk away confused.
And that, my friends, is just the time the devil comes to play. And much like all those greedy birds, he steals the truth away.
Some hearts are like the rocky ground. God's truth takes hold at first, but withers up when life gets hard and goes from bad to worse.
Some hearts are like the thorny ground, where worries weed-like grow, and choke out peace and choke out joy, till all the goodness goes.
But some are like the fertile ground, and when God's truth takes root, it grows up into a lovely tree, bursting rich with fruit.
Last time.
Sow your seeds gently on the ground, which will grow and which will not, and where will fruit be found?
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Jordan. Thank you to those that joined in with the actions too.
Absolutely.
So what is this story all about? Well, we believe it is all to do with listening. Listening is very important in lots of areas of life, and I'm sure your teachers or your grown-ups at home will agree with that. But for Christians, it's important that we listen to God and that we listen to what he tells us in the Bible. Now, Jordan, you've been a Christian for 13 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So how does this story that Jesus told help you in relation to your life?
Well, I think, as you go through and live your life as a Christian, sometimes it can feel a bit like you might be one of the seeds that's maybe growing in the thorny ground. I think for me, that's something I relate to at times, where sometimes, worries and stresses of the world and your life can kind of sometimes get in the way of kind of listening to God and spending that time with him. But what this story encourages me is that we can always turn back and rely on the sower to kind of bring that seed into good places, so that, once again, we can be bursting rich with fruit.
Absolutely, thank you, Jordan. And I know for me that is something that I and lots of Christians would agree with. It doesn't mean life's going to be easy, but if we can try and stick to that good path where we can have deep roots in God, then it can really be a fruitful life. I want to say thank you to Jordan for joining us. We're going to see you again later this week.
Yep, thank you.
Absolutely. And we will be seeing him in the story of the, I'll have to wait and see until Thursday, but it's about a bit of a rainstorm, which we might get Jordan involved with. So, we're moving on to the part of our assembly today, which is where we set you a challenge. And the challenges that we're setting you all week is about recreating these parables, these stories, in a creative way. Yesterday, Matt set the challenge of doing a picture of the Good Shepherd, and today I want you to retell the story of the sower and the seeds, but in a freeze frame. This is where you take a picture, instead of videoing you acting it out, you pause and freeze in one still image and get someone to take a picture of that. So can you maybe take a picture of you being the farmer sowing the seeds and freeze frame it? Or maybe you can try and be one of the seeds. Are you the plant growing up nice and tall who then withers in the sun? Or maybe there's friends in your family that can help you be the crow that comes and eat the seeds, or the thorns that come and choke you. Whatever it is, I want to see all of your pictures sent to us by email. You can do that by sending it to schools@southamptoncitymission.co.uk. Or if you or a grown-up are on Instagram, they can put a picture on there and tag us at SEM Schools. Any pictures from today or yesterday that we get before tomorrow's live stream, Matt will be able to share in tomorrow's assembly. So if you want to see your work on display, make sure you send that in to us where I just said. I'll put those links in the comments as well. Well, that's the challenge for today, but we've got one more thing to do, which is to say a prayer. This is how we like to end all of our assemblies, whether in school or online, and it is completely optional. If you've watched one of our assemblies before, you know that you don't have to join in. But if you do agree with the words I'm saying, you can just say Amen at the end, because that just means I agree. So let's spend a moment in quiet with God now. Dear God, thank you for parables and stories that help us think and learn something new. Please help us as we try to listen carefully and learn more from the Bible and learn more about you. Help everyone to have a wonderful rest of the day and have fun creating their freeze frame images of the parable of the sower. If you agree, you can say Amen. Well, I want to thank everyone for watching this. Apologies that it's not our usual live stream. We will try and do our live stream again for the rest of this week without funny background crackling noises. But I want to let you know we will be back all next week, and our next assembly is tomorrow. That is Wednesday the 15th of April, and Matt will be joining you at 3 p.m. as usual, where he'll be sharing another story that Jesus told, the parable of the prodigal son. So make sure you're watching that to find out what that is all about and what the next challenge is going to be. For now, I want to remind you to like us on Facebook and Instagram, follow us, share any videos that you think other people will enjoy, and of course subscribe on YouTube as well so you don't miss any of our future assemblies. For now though, have a wonderful rest of your day and we will see you again soon. Bye!